I am your host, Adam Shamail.
And I am your co-host, Aaron C. Schroeder, now featuring sunglasses.
That's right. We're a Sunglasses Pod now. And this is the most official, unofficial Oregon Ducks sporting podcast on the web, Footosphere, a casual podcast for casual fans. Not only that, but the only remaining Pac-12 podcast on the internet.
You better believe it, busters.
That is right. The future has not met here. We're living in the past, baby.
I mean, it still makes me smile every time I hear you say it. It is truly one of my greatest factoids about what this podcast do.
That's right. Well, that's why we love you on this pod, Aaron, because when you got the memory span of a goldfish, everything's brand new. Everything.
Yeah. And I will say this. I was at the beginning of this year kind of excited to learn the other 17 teams in our actual division and like actually start understanding them, because last year it felt so foreign.
Mm-hmm.
But you took it away and I don't miss it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure you'd be rather talking about Northwestern football right now.
Baby.
No, I'm good. Minnesota football. Aaron, let's live in the past of last week. What'd you think about that game against Penn State? Did the whiteout live up to what you were thinking?
Okay. Number one.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were roughly 7 minutes into the broadcast, and I was already just completely over hearing the term whiteout.
I know.
I was like, oh my God. Just keep hitting it. So whatever. But I'll tell you this. This is how excited about this game that I was. I actually watched the post-game conference.
Wow.
Or little talkie talk that everyone's favorite coach gave. That was the most exciting game of football I have seen in a long, long time. Absolutely. I think it was exactly the kind of game I've been wanting out of the Oregon Ducks, because, you know, these last four were kind of like, okay, cool, got it.
They were warm-ups.
Yeah, to a degree, but this one was like, oh, snap. Yeah, now we're playing ball, baby.
And the fact that it was like you kind of got everything, where it was like three versus three, you know, like yes. Tied at 3 for so long.
Yes.
Like, not necessarily our offense looking terrible.
Right.
Like, we still get better.
You get your defensive battle. You get your fast-paced, high-scoring situations.
We were up 17-3.
Double overtime.
Yeah. It felt like we were completely in control of the game. Like, I felt like I jinxed it, Rose. All like, oh, like, we're done.
You get missed field goals. You get blades of grass saving the day.
I've never seen that before in my life.
Dude, you know that they have a whole new set of bylaws on the proper maintenance of their lawn.
Yeah. Next game at Beaver Stadium, it'll just be played on dirt, on just absolute dirt. That blew my mind. And the way that it was like coming back from commercial, it's like, actually, Ducks have the ball.
Okay. And then, but this was the other thing, which I'm going to say, I'm excited we have a special guest today, because there's things I'd like to discuss or have further knowledge on. because one thing I did feel like was the game was being ran awkwardly because there was 2 different moments of a quick return from commercial.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't want to say the officiating was biased at all, because I do think that they were giving and taking from both teams fairly evenly, but the choices felt odd to me.
I'll tell you this,
like
Aaron.
Sometimes they were letting them play with a bit of attitude, and then sometimes they wouldn't. And sometimes they would let a hold go, but then sometimes all of a sudden it becomes something else.
I'll tell you this. First of all, our guest loves talking about the refs and the decisions they make. That's his main focus.
Right.
You know? And then the other thing is, there were so many times in this game where I was watching it and I was all like, we are clearly holding.
But, yeah. Well, I mean, they bring it up at least 2 or 3 times.
Oh yeah. And like Penn State fans, this is where I'm at with all this stuff, with the blades of grass. Like, I've seen a photo where that someone had, I mean, who freaking knows, but like, you go online to confirm your biases, right? So I go online, I saw a photo where it looked much more like his knee was actually on the ground. I'm like, cool, yeah, that's all I need to see.
Yeah.
Also, with the holding, is like, yeah, I don't know. It's happened against us so much when we've had an elite pass rusher that I was kind of like, okay, like, either Penn State has to pay these guys more, these refs more than they normally do, or we paid the right ones or whatever. But the other thing is, Aaron, with that fumble, with that lost fumble.
Yeah.
And like, I asked this of Penn State fans. It's like, okay, let's say you got that fumble and you were starting like midfield instead. Are you so sure that at that point in the game, Drew Aller was 100% gonna march you down the field and score you? You're positive that would have been the difference? Because, like, I'm telling you, man, like, he, outside of those last couple of drives when Franklin finally got his head out of his ass, it felt like we had the better of them. Like, on defense, like,
it did feel like the first half was like, oh shit. We're like thinking about shit. We're like, okay, everything, we need to figure something out. And then they go into the locker room and they come out and it's like, oh, they figured it out. Beginning of the second half, it did feel like we had the edge on them. And then their ability to score quickly was like us relaxing.
I think it's because just like the Big Ten championship game. Where I mean, we'll bring on our guest here to talk about this, because he's really the first person that put me onto this. Is it's just like James Franklin wants to play a certain kind of ball. He wants to play it like close.
Is that head coach of theirs?
Yeah, and like old school, and we don't want to take too many risks. And they played that way every single game last year, and then the Big Ten championship game happens. I remember Hythloday being like, well, unless they just play completely different. Oh crap. Well, now we got to bring him on. Everybody, Hythloday of Addicted to Quack has made his return. How's it going, Hythloday?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good, because we
that world famous Hythloday catch line.
Yeah, the catchphrase has been said once again. Hythloday, you've pointed this out, that James Franklin has James Franklin ball, and it really wasn't until like the last year, like Big Ten championship game, when they went down, where you saw them kind of like, I mean, I would just put it as like turn into a team that they probably should be. And it kind of felt like this game was a little bit a repeat of that, where it's like, once they were down by 2 scores and our defense was tired, it was like, oh yeah. So now our back's against the wall, we'll just completely play. And I watched this Penn State team, and I feel like you could take this exact team, and with just some different mindset, specifically on offense, this could be such a better team. Like, I don't know. Is this a team that's just like really not reaching what their potential should be? Would you say that about this James Franklin team? I mean, it's kind of a basic take, but
short answer, yes. The long answer,
next question.
No.
I both strongly agree and strongly disagree with some stuff that you said. That the James Franklin ball, the like slow it down, grind it out, kind of stuff. You're absolutely correct that's like that stuff that he imposes on the team is an irrational decision. Just from a game theory perspective, it is not what you should be doing as a high talent team. It builds up variance. You want to, if you're the high talent team, you should be increasing the pace of play, giving yourself more scoring opportunities, just like a basketball game. Basketball is a game of runs, right? Where, hey, it doesn't matter if you have a little cold spell here, you miss a shot that you should make there. You shoot the ball 200 times, it's
you
all
can't abandon the three, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
With football, it's already a low scoring opportunity game because, like, how many times do you get to the red zone? If you're slowing the pace of play down further by putting the parking brake on, that's irrational to do if you're the good team. That's why teams like Army, the service academies that are at a talent disadvantage, they adopt that strategy because it's the guerrilla tactics. It's, you want to make it a slow it down, high variance games that, like, hey, maybe we get a shot. We get, like, you make this a 3-possession game and we steal a possession and get a touchdown that maybe we shouldn't have. Like, that's our formula for winning this game when we shouldn't. That's not what a team like Penn State should be doing. So Franklin ball is irrational, and his only way and when he imposes Franklin ball irrationally, his only way of winning games is when circumstances knocks him out of it. So yes, I definitely agree with that. And that's what we saw in the conference championship game. And we sort of saw a mini effect of that, although I predicted it was going to happen in that pass to Devontae Ross. And also you sort of see it with Drew Aller when Drew Aller sort of plays loose, like what, Andrew and Vince, when we talked to them, for our preview last Friday, talked about it was very clear in the 3 cupcake games that they played to begin the year that, like, the best their offense looked was in their 2-minute drill when they just played loose and threw the ball. So that sort of takes me to, so, like, it doesn't surprise me at all that, like, all of their scoring was when they were playing loose, playing fast and throwing the ball, because their normal offense and their Franklin ball stuff, like, doesn't work.
Yeah. Like, in my head, I kept thinking too, it's just like, why aren't, like, maybe just to get Drew Aller in it a little more? Like, he's such a big guy and hard to take down. I felt like some more runs from him would have really would have me sweating,
But that also sort of takes me to the stuff that I disagree with, which is, and I posted a tweet about this, in every way compared to 2024, the 2024 Penn State team that Oregon played in the conference championship game, the Penn State 2025 team is a weaker team. Like, I don't want to say they're a shell of their former selves, but it's like they've taken a step back in every way that I can measure them.
Yeah.
That, first of all, they lost a bunch of key pieces. They lost their
Tyler Warren. I mean,
Tyler Warren. Their tight end, who was everything to them in the passing game. They lost a defensive end who was a first round draft pick. They had 2 of them who were really great. They lost one of them. They brought back the other one. They have another who's pretty good, but he's not a first round draft pick. They lost a key linebacker, a couple other pieces. At the same time, they have not been able to fix their wide receiver core. This is like try number 4. They've tried to fix their wide receiver core. They keep self-sabotaging at it. And on top of that, they brought back a bunch of pieces. This was the thing that, like, all in the national media was like, well, this is why Penn State is going to compete for a national championship. Look at all these pieces that were really strong that they brought back, and wow, they're just going to be even better in 2025. And I'm here to tell you, and whatever problems they had, they're going to fix those problems because they'll all be seniors this year. And when I'm here to tell you, and I was clear from watching, the tape, even in their cupcake games, is that those pieces, their quarterback, their running backs, their offensive line, their secondary, did not fix any of the problems that they had last year. And in many of those circumstances, they got worse. Some of them for reasons that I can explain, like the offensive coordinator for no good reason implemented a scheme change where now they're running sideline to sideline instead of north-south. It makes no sense why they're doing that. It was a stupid decision. And Oregon just destroyed it. I put a bunch of clips in my article, like, here's all the tells for what they do when they're going to run one of those plays. And here's how you destroy it. And sure, and it was all over the Saturday film. It's in Tristan's article that went up this morning about, like, Oregon just read all of Penn State's tells and blew up their run game. And that's like 75% of their run game now.
Yeah.
And it was like such a stupid decision. But then there's other stuff that, like, and part sub B of that is the stuff that they meant to fix. They just never got around to fixing. Their secondary's no better. Their quarterback's no better. It's like, they just didn't fix it. Like, surprise, surprise, they didn't fix it. But then sub C, the stuff that's like absolutely I have no explanation for, it makes no sense, is two of their very strong units, to wit, one of their running backs, Nick Singleton, and their entire offensive line, for reasons that I cannot explain. Like, it's completely off model. I have a statistical model that it predicts everything, like including personnel performance, because I have a ton of data, right? Like, I chart all these teams. I have like 15 years worth of charting data on all these people. I can feed it into a model. Like, it predicts how people should do. Totally inexplicable. One of their running backs and their entire offensive line should be very, 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 very good, and instead are not very good. And it's crazy. I can't explain it, but it's true. They're not very good.
And not just against the Ducks, you're saying, like, in the first three cupcake games.
Even in the cupcake games. And I mean, we had Penn State fans, even the most intellectually honest of them, who were like, yeah, we're acknowledging that this is a problem, but here's what we're hoping was the case. Maybe they were sleepwalking through those games. Maybe they were just like trying some stuff out. That was the experimental stuff because they knew they had cupcake games. But no, they'll get back to the good stuff, against Oregon. And as is almost always the case.
Yeah.
Not true, because what rule number one the analyst's credo is: the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior.
Yeah, I kept here, like, Hythloday, I'd like to, this is a compliment to you, because, like, truly, I keep up with your stuff on Addicted to Quack. Everyone should go over to addictedtoquack.com. But also I'm looking, like, I've got, whether it's random other podcasters on, like, I'm watching on TikTok or whatever, or the big national, like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. It is atrocious how much just storyline is focused on covering upcoming games, where I'm sure you probably, like, don't hear this because you don't need to be looking at different sources and stuff like this, but the amount of times that I heard, well, okay, Oregon, Penn State, this is the biggest game of the week. This is the biggest game of the season, the Big Ten, maybe, like this. We're all talking about this game. Well, Penn State and James Franklin really need this win, and they need it, and Oregon wants it, but Penn State really needs it. So I'm going to go with Penn State. All right. And, like, that was it. And it was just like, it would be like returning. Oh, they're returning a lot of talent. That's as deep as we need to get. And I just got to say, man, it's nice to read your stuff where we're not just focusing on, like, the history of Penn State, the history of what Oregon was, like, actually breaking down, what this position is doing. And reading your stuff is one of the main reasons why, like, some Duck fans, I'm sure this may, like, be breaking to, is that, like, our O-line is not A+ world beater, best there's ever been. Like, there are some problems popping up in the O-line that, if you're not really watching, if you're getting distracted by the fireworks, you may miss. And it is only because Addicted to Quack and your writing and you and Tristan, that, like, truly you're able to see this, and it's really obvious. And In this game, though, which is one reason why, like, I love Dan Lanning and why you want a Dan Lanning over James Franklin, is like they know this too, and it did really feel, especially like in the first half, that we were going into this game with that knowledge and playing to kind of hide our weaknesses on the O-line. Can you specifically talk on the O-line and maybe like what you're seeing, if you're seeing any improvement, or if it's truly like this may be something that prevents us from a national championship win? Or I would just love to talk about these specific players, because we've been talking all year too that like you've had this number where you're like, something I've noticed is that once you're bringing in 3 transfer O linemen, that seems to be the tipping point number where you may not do very well. Like it may be a detriment.
There's a lot to talk about there. First of all, thanks for the comments about my writing Addicted to Quack. It's why I got into it in the first place, is I was really dissatisfied with media coverage. I felt like I didn't know anything about the teams that Oregon was going to play. And I was like, well, I guess I better do this myself.
It's just nuts, man. There would be so many like big time, like, people that supposedly know their shit that were just talking about like Drew Aller's feelings. Yeah. And it's just like, what are we doing?
There was one storyline element, I guess, which is, the whiteout's real. Like I can measure the effect, and it's worth a little more than home field advantage generally is. Home field advantage is generally worth about 2.5 points. With Penn State whiteout games, it's worth closer to about 5 points. It's almost like double,
that's what I heard.
Normal.
Biggest crowd we've ever played in front of, I do believe. Right?
It's I mean, it's certain, like and I think it was impressive that Oregon, handled it with as much poise as they did. I think that's a storyline that is, worth talking about. Also, it is from an analytical perspective worth incorporating into, to the point that you were making about, hey, this game was tied at 3-3. At halftime, these two teams, played a banger of a conference championship game. It was like 45-45, something like that, where it was like a point a minute. Yeah, Oregon's defense is definitely, taken quite a bit, Oregon's defense is a lot better than it was last year. Let's all, be very happy about that. It's against a Penn State offense that significantly, doesn't have Tyler Warren and is doing some stupid stuff. So you need to take a grain of salt with, how much the defense has improved. Oregon's offense, we can all agree. Like, I think we all can see that the talent that Dante Moore has as a quarterback, sky's the limit with that guy. Mm-hmm. I think we can all see the talent in the skill position groups.
Yes.
We can see the talent as a running back. Like, Deer Hill looks like an absolutely electric back. They have a whole ton of depth. The running back groups is great to see Noah Whittington again. I love all these wide receivers. Corian Moore is an electric, wide receiver. It was great to see Malik Benson. A lot of people were making fun of him.
I would say this is. I feel pretty comfortable already being like, this is the best receiving core we've ever had.
Sure. Like I could go on. Like I have time to like list all these, like, Kenyon Sadiq is a fantastic tight end. Might be the best
Gary Bryant
in America. Gary Bryant. Yeah. Like I was a little worried about the guy maybe losing a step, coming off his injury, all these guys. Like Oregon's probably a better skill team, on offense than they were last year. The only reason, well, I guess you could make a second argument, which is the whiteout game. But other than the whiteout game, which, like I said, it's maybe 5 points. Other than the whiteout game, hey, look, man, it's not because Penn State's defense got better. It didn't. Penn State's defense, if anything, is a little worse. And it's not because Oregon has worse skill talent. They didn't. They're better. It's not because Will Stein got kicked in the head by a horse and forgot how to be a great, offensive coordinator. He didn't, at least as far as I'm aware. The only thing that's different between Oregon putting up like 45 points on Penn State and Oregon putting up like 3 points at halftime is the offensive line. Mm-hmm. Like this could not have been a clearer a clearer experiment in, how important your offensive line cohesion is, and a clearer demonstration of the transfer portal effect. Like, these are all highly rated offensive linemen. Individually in a vacuum, those offensive linemen, would probably be doing great, but the transfer portal effect just means, like, yikes. And, like, to the point that you were making earlier about holding, like, oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, in a different conference that actually calls holding, like, Oregon probably loses this game.
I honestly
because
felt that
Isaiah
way,
World
yeah.
was holding on like every other play.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, he just was. Like, I don't know. There's no other way to put it. Like, I mean,
I hardly noticed that a lot of time.
Oregon
Like,
should
I
have
have
had
to
like
look back.
50 yards of penalties on Isaiah World holding alone.
Yeah. I hardly noticed that. I'm like a lot of other people where it's like you're watching the candy, instead of the actual. But like, holy hell, it was really obvious, especially that one where Dante Moore like gets out of the pocket. I believe on our first touchdown drive, where it's he escapes and like makes that amazing pass downfield, where it's just like, yeah, no, like, look at it, he's so obviously holding.
So,
Like,
so
yeah.
I can get a little deeper on this.
Mhm.
The specifically in terms of the numbers, and this has been actually consistent from the very first game, against Montana State. But what Oregon's the output is, Oregon's oops, I'm looking at the wrong team. Uh, Oregon's rush efficiency is actually still staying pretty high. Like, so efficiency, remember what I'm talking about, is success rate. So this is given the down and distance, did you get enough yards to stay ahead of the chain? So if it's if it's 2nd and 6, did you get 3 yards?
Mhm.
So I'm not talking about, it doesn't necessarily need to be a huge play. It just needs to be, did you get enough given what the down and distance is? But if it's 3rd down, you got to convert. If you didn't convert on 3rd down, it's a failed play, right?
Mhm.
So their efficiency rate running the ball is still very, very high. It's actually better than it was last year. It's 65.5% on the year. That's excluding the FCS game, but honestly,
Okay.
the FCS games still has pretty similar numbers.
Mhm.
And the yards per carry is pretty high, 6.3. Now that's including perimeter runnings. They're much better running to the perimeter, which is basically not running between the tackles, right? If they run
Mhm.
between the tackles, it's worse, which is a bad sign, right? Like, that was what Oregon. The reason that Oregon dominated the Pac-10, Pac-12 for all those years, when Steve Greatwood showed up and then left and came back, Oregon's offensive line was like a juggernaut. Like, they weren't blocking the way that all these other weenie Pac-10 West Coast teams would block. Like, they were for real team for 20 years. And I feel like for a whole lot of Oregon fans, they went their entire lives as Oregon fans just assuming that was like, oh, that's normal. That just happens.
Yeah.
That's a given.
You
And
get a 3-star guy and he plays
Yeah.
like a 5-star guy. Yeah.
and or they don't even know that that's what a 5-star looks like. They just think that that's what offensive line blocking is.
Mhm.
That's average. And what I'm here to tell you is that what you saw at Oregon for 20 years is not average. What you saw at Oregon for 20 years was elite offensive line play, and Oregon fans sort of took that for granted. And the thing that I'm about to talk about next, which is explosive rushing or chunk yardage rushing, where on about 20%, between 17 to 22% of your runs, so around 1 in 5. And this was for 20 years. For 20 years, I'm talking about. For 20 years, between out of every 5 times you carry the ball, you would get 10 plus yards, which is Big Ten teams which pride themselves on running, right? Every one of them, oh, look at our smash mouth football, right? Like, they have no idea how to do it. They're lucky to get a 10 plus yard run like 1 in 10 times. They're so bad at it. They're just terrible. Oregon on the other hand, and so that's what Oregon fans, like, for 20 years, they're people who've gone there literally their entire lives watching Oregon football. And when they watch football, they're primarily watching Oregon football. They're not like me, where I'm watching like mostly other teams and like, oh yeah, it's Saturday, it's time to watch Oregon.
Yeah. U of O freshmen
right?
right now, if they've been a Duck fan their whole life, only know that.
Right. So they think that's normal. They think that's average. They think that's a given. And what I'm here to tell you is you were watching elite offensive line play for all this time. And so this year, for the first year in many Duck fans' lives or memory, are seeing what this is what I have been watching when I've been watching Cal and Arizona and Wazoo, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is what I've been seeing when I watch every other team's offensive. Who's like, I should back up. I should say, this is what I've been seeing. Actually, when I start off by saying Cal, I picked Cal for a reason. Justin Wilcox was recruiting, like he couldn't get dudes who could block very well. Like their technique was sloppy as hell. They trip over each other's feet. But what they were big guys. Like he was getting guys who were like 330 pounds because he's like, well, I don't know how to train guys, but I can get guys who are just large. They're Jackson McLarge huge. And and those guys would just like kind of fall forward and get like just like push the dudes forward and get like 3 or 4 yards. And so Cal for years, like I would put clips in my articles and no one would read my Cal articles. I don't know why. I would put clips in my articles of like Cal would consistently get 4 yards just kind of bumbling forwards, but they would never get more than 4 yards. And I'm like, oh, Oregon's turned into that. That's what Oregon has turned into in 2025. They've turned into Cal's line again. It's all these guys, they're all enormous dudes, right? Like that's what I mean, look at them. They're huge. That's why they're, highly, or one of the reasons they're all, one of the reasons I need to unpack that in a second, but one of the reasons why is, and so they're able to do that. Like even when they screw up their technique, they're still like blowing guys back. And so the running backs, who are all good running backs, are able to get, I mean, it's better than Cal. They're Cal plus, so their success rate is still very high. It's like 65%. They're getting like 6.3 yards per carry, which is great number. That's incorporating the perimeter running, but even between the tackles, it's still high. It's still about 62%, and it's still about 5.4 yards per carry between the tackles, which are still good numbers. Those are still, and their, so their efficiency is good, but it's kind of on, they're succeeding despite the offensive line, or because the offensive line is kind of just like mashing. It's like button mashing in a fighting game. You ever play your little brother in a fighting game where he's like, he's not actually pulling off a technique. He's just smashing the button a bunch. That's what Oregon's like offensive line looks like. But where it's hurting them, what you have to be able to execute in order to get explosive running is really elegant, really is your line technique. Like this guy has to pull around and hit that guy just perfectly. And he can't trip over anybody when he's getting there. He can't get stuck on the combo when he's going up to the second level. He's got, this guy hits that guy, 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 this guy hits that guy. Oh my God, it was all perfect. And the hole opens and bam, the running back is off for 20 yards. And it's like, oh my God. And that stuff, I'm telling you, as a film reviewer, is such a treat to watch. And I got to watch it on 1 out of every 5 carries for 20 years. Like, what a treat. What a treat to be the Oregon film reviewer. What a treat, and this year, that's what you're not seeing. And Oregon's explosive rush rate is just in the toilet most games, especially between the tackles. On the perimeter, it's still good because Will Stein knows how to put that stuff together. And, and kind of to the point that you were making, they were kind of feeling out teams in the first couple of games to see like, well, maybe we can do it. And then they were learning what was working, what wasn't. And they put all those lessons to work in the Penn State game. And they definitely came with a game plan. They definitely came with a game plan of like, push, couple yards, don't hand Penn State the ball back, push.
If it's tied 0-0, go for it on fourth.
Right,
like,
exactly. They knew they weren't delusional about this. They knew that they couldn't count on 10-yard rushing 20% of the time. Right. Now, and so that's the run game. In the pass game, the numbers are reversed. Their efficiency, not so hot. It's about 54%. You want that number to be more like 60%. But the explosives are still very, very good. It's like 18%, right? So translating, what that means is pressure's getting through. So on a higher than should be for an Oregon offensive line rate, Dante Moore is having to scramble. Dante Moore is having to get rid of the ball or to, make an inaccurate throw because he's under pressure or something like that. That's where that like about 6 percentage point inefficiency loss is coming from, is that line pressure is getting through. And I mean, if I read you the offensive line grades, they'd make you sick. They're just pressure is getting through. There's no other way to put it. And so that's what's tubing the efficiency. But when he is able to make plays, oh my God, he's making plays. Holy cow, man. Because that guy's got, exactly what I wrote about back in 2023 when he transferred over, and exactly what we've been talking about for all the wide receivers when that, when the play's there.
Or when it's barely there, when he rolled out to that pass to Decorian Moore, like down the side, like that was
it's a Heisman play.
Oh yeah. Do you what have you noticed? Like, basically, I'm just asking: is there hope for by the end of the season? Is that typically?
Oh, that's the other thing that I wanted to unpack. So the transfer portal effect, all the modeling that I have on it indicates that it decays on a logarithmic scale. So that kind of looks like an S curve. So at first the decay is very slow. So these first 5 weeks or so, it doesn't hardly decay at all. So it's like this is bad. It doesn't look like they're improving at all. Then you hit the vertical part of the S, and the decay is rapid. And that's probably, I can't guarantee this is going to be the case, but according to the model, you'll lose about 50% of the transfer portal effect over the next 2 months. So for October, November, I'm expecting to see a rapid decline of the transfer portal effect. And so now I'm using a double negative here. A decline of the transfer portal effect means improvement of grades. However,
not even thinking about the schedule and the who.
Right, exactly. This means sort of in a vacuum. However, then for that last quarter of the improvement tapers off again. That now we're back to the flat part of the S. And it just basically it takes so long. You basically don't see full remediation until the beginning of next season. So that's what I would say to Duck fans is I know this has felt like, there's been no improvement at all. I actually can see a little bit of improvement, which is what I would expect to see through week 5. But then now after this bye week, boy, good time for a bye week. Yeah. Now over these next 5, 6, 7 weeks through November, now you should actually see him gelling and cohering. You'll see them playing better. It won't be fully, what you were hoping for by November, but it'll be getting close. But then you'll be thinking perhaps what you will be thinking, having tracked that, is, oh man, they're on schedule for the playoffs to be absolute murderers. But what I'm telling you is that's the thing about a logarithmic decay is that oh no, it's the improvements kind of got to bottom out. By November, that's about as good as they're going to get, is what you're seeing in November.
So that being said, looking at our schedule, and I don't know, let's take a random conference the Big Ten conference. If you were to take all those teams and then what we got on our schedule here, who do you think are some of the most likely to kind of take advantage of this O-line that we have right now?
I'm really interested to see Indiana. I've got the bye. Indiana's the team that Oregon plays after the bye week. Indiana is also on a bye here in week 6. So that's the team that I'm diving in to do the film study on now. But I've got the preliminary charting data on them. Indiana's interesting because what their cumulative stats add up to is they're a little above average at everything. They're not elite at anything. They're not below average at anything. They're a little above average at everything. but that's what their cumulative stats are. Like game to game, they're wild men. Like, against Illinois, they were the greatest team in the world.
No joke.
In the other 3 games they played, which were against Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, and Iowa, they looked trashy.
Yeah. I mean, Iowa will do that, but also maybe not this year's Iowa should be doing that.
Yeah, exactly. And then also Old Dominion and Kennesaw State. I mean, I'm not kidding. Like, nobody watched those games, but
I did not.
They're on my list. Like, and I watched parts of them because I needed to certain cleanup things. I haven't fully watched them yet, but I've watched parts of them because I needed to set up my charts. And those parts that I was watching preliminarily, I was like, ugh. So yeah, I'm interested to dive in and watch the tape on that team. Like, I'm curious about how they are. Another team that I am curious about how they play that sort of, I don't think it is on anybody's radar screen, is Minnesota.
Interesting.
Because I think they have 2 really good defensive tackles, and they might give Oregon some trouble. I don't know. Wisconsin's fallen apart. Iowa, of course, is always going to give everybody a lot of trouble, but I just think their offense is a joke, and that Oregon is just going to outscore them. It is, again, I am very curious to watch the Iowa-Indiana game. But I mean, if you can get past Penn State in a whiteout, I feel like there's really nothing that Iowa brings to the team. I mean, there's a reason why Iowa, like, whenever they play opponents with a pulse, they wind up losing those games like 25-0. So I don't know, man.
What do you think? What are your thoughts on Ohio State this season? Because like they're the number 1 team supposedly. Who cares about the AP poll? Like, I'd rather be number 2, honestly. But with Ohio State, it does seem like they're a little more of a defensive-led team this season. And I just like to, like, obviously they're the monkey on our backs. What are your thoughts on the team in general?
I mean, I think they've taken a step back since last year. Julian Sain's going to take a little bit of time to get up to speed. What I've been trying to tell them for a while now is they've got a problem at tight end. And I think that problem persists. I don't think that Max Clear was like the magic solution for them. I don't think that they've made a whole lot of progress on their offensive line problem, which has persisted now for a couple of years.
Which makes me feel good about our O-line, because it's like, hey, if Ohio State could put it together by last year and win a championship.
Well, I mean, that I thought you were going a different way, which is anybody can fall in this hole. That is also true. I mean, but the point that you made is true as well. Like, there are creative ways to get around an offensive line problem. The reason that I've been talking about Oregon's offensive line a lot is simply because that's what Oregon fans are used to, and Oregon fans need to, this is a weird thing. This is a weird thing for Oregon fans to suddenly have Cal's offensive line, and that, it feels uncomfortable and strange. And I've been trying to prepare Oregon fans.
I think you're giving some of them too much credit too. I feel like there's a huge chunk of Oregon fans that are like, what are you talking about? This is the greatest offensive line we have ever had. Like, I'm looking at the stars here. I'm looking at the scores and how much rushing yards you're getting. Yeah, no, this is actually the best.
I mean, with every other number that Oregon is producing, they should be. It's very clear from the statistical profile. With every other number that Oregon is producing, they should have absolutely hosed Penn State. It could not be more clear that the issue is the offensive line performance.
And I mean, I should also say, like, one thing that maybe Duck fans they're probably praising this, but I've been so damn impressed with the defensive line. And some people have been very afraid of it because of what they saw in the first 3 weeks. What are your thoughts on how?
Oh no, that's a trap. Like
that's what I was thinking too. Like,
Oregon. Okay, so this is the Mint defensive philosophy. They in short yardage situations, they back out and they play the pass. And so in short yardage situations, I mean, what would be ideal is if with like, just a couple of guys up in the front, they can like stuff the run and win on like 2nd and 1. But
Sure,
it's
that'd be
weird.
nice.
But, when the opponent's like bound and determined to do it, and they're putting like 2 tight ends against, and you've got like 2 defensive linemen, and the other 9 guys are backed out and playing the pass, because what really kills you in college football is when they hit a deep shot against those plays. Like, it's not going to happen, and so like Oregon's success rate in short yardage is like, it's like 14.3% in 2nd and short. It's like 22% on 3rd and short. But that's because the dumb teams that Oregon has been playing have only, like, I'm not kidding, in 2nd and short, opponents have run during meaningful play 7 times out of 7. And 3rd and short, they've run 9 times out of 10. Like, Oregon's backing out and playing the pass, and the opponent had been like, okay, I guess we can't pass, we should just run and pick up the conversion. And so Oregon fans watching that are like, oh, they're gashing us, we can't get them off the field. And it's like, the time to get them off the field was on earlier downs to keep them getting into short yardage, and their numbers there are fine. On 1st and 10, their run success rate is 64%. I would step over my mother to get a rush success rate of 64% on 1st and 10. Like, that's awesome. Their pass success rate is only 53% on 1st and 10. Like, that's the number that they need to get a little better at. But like, who would have, who in the Oregon fan base would believe me, if I came on and said the number that they need to improve is their 1st and 10 pass success rate? But I'm telling you, that's what it is. Like, every other number is nominal for what this defensive strategy is.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what I felt. And a lot of it was like, well, okay, people were very afraid because Northwestern won on 4th and 2 in the 4th quarter. Like, I was like, I that's fine. That's all right. How many points did they score? Yeah, I don't know. I've been very excited.
But the reason that I say it's a trap is that when this is when Nick Saban and Kirby Smart were designing this in Alabama, back when Kirby Smart was Nick Saban's coordinator at Alabama, was it, that's what they realized is if you dangle that in front of teams, like, oh, we're vulnerable against the run and short yard situations. Why don't you pick that up and try to go on a long drive that teams will be dumb enough to do it? And you know how many teams have won a national championship since World War II? Like, efficiency running for 20-yard drives. Like, Notre Dame tried to do it. How'd that work out for them?
Yeah.
No one wins high-level games. Nobody goes the distance doing that, either on a football field or to get a natty. It doesn't happen. It might feel like kind of bad in the moment, like, oh my God, we couldn't get off the field, but they will eventually make a mistake. They will eventually not get the first down that they need. Either they'll get stuffed or they will not be successful enough on first down to set up the short yardage such that they will then be in a long yardage situation on 3rd down. And that's when you kill them and get off the field. And as long as you don't give up explosives, like they're still crawling on their own 40-yard line. It's a trap. It's a trap that you set for those opponents. So like, as long as you have to break out the down distance situational numbers to find this, but as long as you're hitting your 2nd and long, 3rd and long, and 1st and 10 numbers, and your pass defense numbers, if your 2nd and short, 3rd and short rush defense numbers are in the red, like you've succeeded, you've baited the trap. And yeah,
that makes perfect sense to me, Hythloday. Now, y'all, let's get into, first of all, so we got a new game. Aaron and I have been going at each other in the picks, back and
cutthroat.
Very cutthroat. I'll tell you right now, after last week's results, I have pulled ahead, Aaron. You've been ahead all season.
We thought you would, because we picked pretty differently last week.
We picked pretty differently. We chose many, and Hythloday, you know this now, but we're still in the OG Pac-12. We're only picking the Pac-12 games, which has been kind of weird because obviously they don't play each other per se. But so last week we made a whole bunch of picks. We chose like Cal versus BC. I chose Cal because I'm still in love with their quarterback and don't trust BC. You chose BC, and I mean, a team that loses to Stanford, you should just know maybe don't back them. But speaking of which, I chose Stanford as I always do. As you chose San Jose State. It was a game, though, man. Like San Jose State nearly
brought it.
They really brought it. It came down to the end. Though I got that one. We got TCU versus the Sun Devils. I chose TCU, even though I love my Sun Devils. And that was one of, I mean, if it wasn't for the Oregon Penn State game, that was truly an amazing game to watch. I believe his name is the
every one of Kenny's games this year have been bangers.
Yes,
like he wins really every game by or loses by like 3 or 4 points.
Absolutely. I've been on this for a couple of years. Like, he is such an awesome coach, Kenny Dillingham. Like, he really gets them playing above where their talent level is. Not having Scattaboo and seeing him in the NFL is like just reassuring. Like, not having him on the team is a really tough thing not to have, and they're still finding ways. And Jesus Gomez gets a game-winning field goal here, and they rally back. ASU, always a fun watch, always a hard out. Houston almost lost to the Beavers. We both chose Houston. Like, they had to rally back, and it's very, again, the tragic season of the Beavers continues, where it could have been their first win. They were at home. Their fans deserved a win of some sort. They didn't get it. They lost last minute. Utah, West Virginia. West Virginia sucks. Utah just beat them. I chose Utah. Iowa State versus Arizona. Iowa State looks like they could be in the lead in the Big 12. They're definitely one of the teams that are up there. I chose them. You chose Arizona. BYU. I can never land on what I think of BYU. Are they overrated? Are they underrated? They are a top 25 team. They did win. Their offense seems to have some problems. USC, Illinois. This was a game. I chose USC because, in theory, USC should always be beating Illinois. There's kind of no reason why they shouldn't ever lose to Illinois, even when they're on the road. The offense looked pretty dang good, as USC typically does. But I mean, all sides of the ball, they were just making mistakes. A million cuts killed them in this. Illinois wins it. I mean, USC just being USC as of late stage USC. Ohio State, Washington. I think a bunch of Duck fans, not necessarily rooting for Washington, but wouldn't have been the worst thing to upset the number one team and to get Ohio State a loss. And it was a grudge match for a while, but Washington's strength is their offense, and their offense was shut down, so it became somewhat of a blowout. UCLA, Northwestern. This is the game. This was the game. Someone had to win, but UCLA, I chose them. They're marching towards that 0-12. It is a real possibility. Beating Northwestern, like, this was kind of a must win. It was competitive, but no, they lose. And you chose Northwestern. Wazoo versus Colorado State. Wazoo's doing better than Oregon State. So there's that. And there's something there. I don't know. And then we both chose Oregon. So in the end, I got 9 right. You got 6 right. So I did pull ahead.
That seems accurate to how I felt last week. It'd probably go down.
Yeah. Any games? It doesn't even have to be any of those games in particular, Hythloday, but any games that really caught your interest this last week?
Man, I was just so glued on the Oregon Penn State game.
Yeah. I literally fell asleep during a lot of the games before the Oregon Penn State game, and I'm glad I did.
I mean, I was watching the Ohio State Washington game, obviously, with a lot of interest. It's just that Oregon plays Washington so late, like that team's going to wind up being a different team by the time that Oregon plays them. It was just sort of curiosity more than anything else.
Very true.
I don't really think they fixed that. I was curious and I calculated what their negative play rate was, and it's 2.2 standard deviations above FBS median, which, like, of course they're never going to win. Like, the reason that I think that Ohio State has stepped back is because they didn't absolutely murder Washington with a negative play rate that high, but Washington's negative play rate is way too high. Like, they are constantly committing false starts in their own stadium. They're committing, like, in their opener against whatever team they opened against, like Old Dominion or something like that. It's some loser team.
Not like Colorado State, was it?
It was Colorado State.
Yeah.
Against whom they were tied at halftime. They had, like, in their own stadium, like, the quarterback's trying to send a wide receiver in motion. The wide receiver can't hear him, but the center can, and he snaps the ball into the dude's scrotum. And
I saw that. And when the announcers are saying the one thing he's really, really good at is securing the ball and not stupid turnovers.
And it's like, and so it's like, and on top of that, it's like they've had like 12 sacks, 10 TFLs, or the other way around. A bunch of false starts. They keep getting, like, dumb penalties. Like, they got 2 incredibly stupid penalties in this game against Ohio State. They got a sideline infraction because the ref ran into one of their coaches on the sideline, and Jed Fish lost his cool, and he basically put his hands on a ref.
Good.
What he got it's not good. It's very bad.
What's the ref doing over on the sidelines? Get out of the way, fool!
No, you're not supposed to be. These were 2 different things that I'm talking about. Like, the refs, the white area is exclusively for the refs. Coaches who are in it and they make contact are absolutely supposed to be flagged. But I'm talking about a different thing, a different event. Fish was mad about something, walked out onto the field to start yelling at a ref, and made contact with him. Like, his hand actually touches, the back of the referee. He immediately reaches that flag, puts a
wow.
Like, refs are being screamed out by, like, tens of thousands of people, and the only thing they had to protect them is polyester. Like, you better believe, like, he was lucky he didn't get ejected on the spot. Like,
the weather's changing in Seattle right now, so maybe some people aren't taking it as well as some others.
Well, and Aaron, have you been seeing, like, many Huskies jerseys? Because I would imagine between the Mariners and the Seahawks,
I have to give you another update.
Yeah,
doing the night walk. It was 2 nights ago, doing the night walk. Group of high school kids are in the play field, 2 of them in Oregon swag. That makes 4 people this season in my own neighborhood that are Ducks fans.
Nice.
And I see, anywhere I go in Seattle, I don't see Huskies. But we have a winning Seahawks, and the Mariners are going to the playoffs. The Huskies are kind of being ignored currently, I think.
Well, I love that. I love that for them. And I love that they lost.
That is the only culture in Seattle, is they all have a baseball player with a large posterior, I understand.
Yeah.
And the best plumbing commercial I've ever seen.
Is it Deep Beacon or
Bob Oates?
BobOates.com. Is he the guy
Big
who
Dumper and Friends?
No. Big. That makes sense. He got a
Big Dumper. He just got sponsored. He just got sponsored by Honey Bucket.
That's good. I love this.
It's amazing. I love how he leans into it.
I also love. Well, he's got to lean into it. I mean, he's balanced the gravity.
He's a catcher after all.
So, I also love that the Huskies lost, and I love that Georgia lost, because even though we were playing on the road, Aaron. Suddenly we have the nation's longest winning streak at home because those 2 teams lost.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's also now a transitive chain that runs all the way from Indiana through the ACC because of Florida State, Virginia, North Carolina State, Illinois, Duke, a bunch of other teams that concludes with Indiana being superior to Georgia. So
Okay.
If Oregon beats Indiana, that means finally Dan Lanning has revenge on Kirby.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll accept that. You didn't watch any of the Georgia Bama game, did you? I know it was like the same.
It was
moment.
It was the game that I had on my other screen during the Oregon Penn State game, and like occasionally I would glance at it, but I have no idea what happened.
There were certainly plenty of commercials to watch, to look over at another screen. I was too busy just shoving cookies in my face every commercial. I had a bunch. It was awesome. Yeah. But let's get into this, y'all. So Aaron and I...
Right. How's this going to work this week?
This is what's going to happen. Aaron and I are calling a truce on our contest, and we will make picks together.
We're going to cooperatively do this?
We're cooperative. I'll let you make the final call, but I'll give you my opinion first. And then since Hythloday is the guest, we'll give him the advantage of going second.
Sure.
And if we beat Hythloday... this is the wager I'm putting. Then if we beat Hythloday, then he's going to do a commercial for just a quick shout out for the Quack 12 on his podcast.
Sure.
And if he beats us, then we're going to rename the Pick'ems something like the Hythloday commemorative weekly Pick'em challenge or something like that. We'll give him
we could let him have naming rights. How about that?
You get naming rights.
Our first act as a cooperative is that we give Hythloday.
It could be a promo for Addicted to Quack or something like that. Yeah,
love it.
Absolutely. This is what we're wagering here. And I may throw in some extra ones if we're picking two alike. But we're starting off. This one's probably gonna be pretty easy, Aaron. So we've got Penn State, who fell down to number 7. Still pretty high. Like that goes to show like the Ducks are number 2 in the country, and it goes to show like a loss to the Ducks is not bad even at home. And they will be playing on the road against UCLA, looking for their first win and first not embarrassing performance. Right. Aaron, I suggest we go with Penn State on this one.
Really?
You get final pick. If you feel something.
How many games in a row can you actually lose before you win one?
Yeah,
I think we'll find out.
Washington Huskies
we should go with Penn State.
Answer that question.
Yeah,
Washington lose all of them.
You can lose every single one. Not only that, but how many games in a row, like just in different universes, could this Penn State team play against this UCLA team and have Penn State win? I think like out of 100, it'd be like 100 Penn State win. Like it'd be maybe there's one. There's some universe.
That's funny.
Yeah. So who are we going with, Aaron?
Oh, we're going Penn State, of course.
I figured. Hith, should I jot you down for UCLA's first win of the season at home? I mean, it's hard to beat that, that Rose Bowl home field advantage, especially when you start off 0-4. So
award-winning actor Leonardo DiCaprio, I heard, will be there.
I doubt it.
I have Penn State in this game. In fact, and actually, Penn State does very well in the Rose Bowl. As Oregon fans may recall. I think actually the better question is UCLA going to win a game? One of their shots was Northwestern. They blew it. 17-14. I don't know, man.
I'm literally going to pull up their schedule right now because
their best shot at a win. Their best shot at a win is from here on out is Michigan State, except they got to go on the road for that, and then it's Maryland. I don't know.
I will. Maybe Maryland. Nebraska. They get Nebraska at home.
Yeah, or just or just some old time sakes. Messing with the old Pac-12 teams at the end of the year. Washington or USC. I really sure would like for them not to go 0-12. The problem is they don't play Cal. It used to be, or still is the case that like Cal was the team that you wanted to play as a winless team because Cal would give it to you. But like they don't even play Cal anymore.
They really should. There's no reason why they should not. If two teams on the same level, like two Power 4 programs, if you end 0-12, they should have a special bowl game for you where they match up those two 0-12 teams. And it's literally like, who is the worst team in college
and
football.
the loser is relegated to FCS. Yeah.
Honestly, that would be fucking awesome. Okay, until it happens to the Ducks in like 50 years. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going with the Pac-12. We've got. Oh shit! I gotta click a button. Gets a little harder to look at these schedules when we're not actually.
Pith, are you still paying attention to the old gang? You still hanging out over there too?
But the old Pac-12 teams.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch every game that seems interesting. I have a whole grid. I wrote some code to keep me apprised.
Nerd.
I've got 4 screens on any given Saturday. Yeah, you
Nice.
Okay.
So here we go. This shouldn't be that interesting. We got Oklahoma State travels to Arizona. Arizona's looked pretty mortal. They haven't looked all that good, but Oklahoma State has looked goddamn abysmal. They are 1-3.
Oklahoma State was the one that almost got us hurt, if I remember correctly.
Oh,
from
kinda.
being super sloppy.
Yeah, kinda. There was that moment where Dante Moore, it looked like in one of our offensive linemen, but yeah, they're the ones that looked like absolute trash.
Yeah. So I think
and Mike Gundy is fired as well, which may be good for them.
Right.
Yeah. We're going with Arizona. There's a world in which Oklahoma, like, I'd be more shocked if UCLA won, that's for sure. But Arizona's winning this bad boy. Hith, you got any surprise knowledge here while you're going with the Cowboys or sticking with the Wildcats?
No, I'll go with Arizona. I mean, I know what you mean about like Arizona sort of like, I don't know why I'm picking this team. Like it's just because Oklahoma State's bad. And it's not because like Arizona's like knock my socks off or anything, but like Oklahoma State's bad. The end.
Yeah, they bad. Here we go. Here's one that's actually interesting where I truly couldn't tell you. Washington goes on the road, which they were terrible at last year. They lost every single road game last year. But they go on the road with a 3-1 record to undefeated Maryland. Fear the Terps. The Terps, they beat FAU 39-7. They beat Northern Illinois 20-9. They beat Towson, whatever the hell that is, 44-17, and they just beat Wisconsin on the road 27-10. Wisconsin is hard to watch, real hard to watch this season. So they haven't played world beaters. Meanwhile, Washington, their only loss is to the number 1 team in the country at home. Washington also has some offensive weapons that have been fun, but not the most consistent team. Aaron, whoever you're feeling, I mean, like Maryland's at home. So
here's what's funny is that you brought them up, and I forgot that was a team in the Big Ten, and then I immediately was like, oh, I kind of wish we were covering the Big Ten because I really liked them. I think we should go for them. I want to go for the Terps.
You want to go for the Terps? I mean, it makes sense. They're at
Turtle.
I have not been watching Maryland football at all, but I always wish them success because they got crazy uniforms and turtle.
Yeah,
it's fun. I like that. It'd be cool if they were successful. Hith, who do you got in this one?
I'm gonna go with Washington.
Nice.
I mean, I just think the Maryland's a mirage.
Sure, I could see that. Yeah,
5 wins in a row seems crazy.
What is a Towson? Yeah,
it's an FCS school.
I don't believe
black. They
what's a Nittany?
Actually, that's a good question, dude. I have no idea.
It's a Puma.
It's Puma.
Yeah, no, I just think the Maryland's a mirage. And I've watched enough of Washington to be like, yeah, they've got stuff figured out that like I don't really think that Maryland has figured out. I think Maryland just been skating on facing bad teams.
That makes sense. Speaking of bad teams, we got Oregon State, I believe, on the road, that is freaking nuts. Oregon State on the road against App State. App State, I mean, they've played they are no. They're 2-2.
Yeah, they just lost to Boise, which is a
yeah.
team I've been watching because Oregon plays them next year, or at least they're on the
That's right.
schedule.
Is
Yeah,
App
who
for
knows?
Appalachian?
That's right. That's
Okay.
right. And so they got demolished by Boise State, a pretty mediocre Boise State this season, 47-14. They lost to Southern Miss 38-22, and then they beat a couple of nobodies. But I mean, do we doubt Oregon State's ability to lose to anyone?
I feel like you might.
I mean, they're 0-5. This has got it. I would imagine they're going to beat App State, especially because they showed life against Houston.
But they're traveling.
They are traveling, but you just imagine eventually they got to have a talent advantage against somebody.
Well, we were just discussing this with UCLA, though. So, I mean, there's like the argument exists everywhere.
Yeah, but they're playing Penn State. This is App State.
Right.
Not only that, if it comes down to a field goal, Oregon State is going to lose because they can't do that.
I was wondering if this is like one of those 7-3 type games.
Oh, I hope. If it's 7-3, then we know the Beavers won because they didn't get the 3. I'm going to
defer to you. I'm going to defer to you, but I do feel like
dude. If they go 0-6 and it's the sixth loss is to App State. Like, we got to put the Beavers out of their misery. Yeah. I'm sorry, but
we gotta cancel that future game thing we scheduled for X amount of years.
We'll just give them the money and we just won't play them.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems weird, but you got to go with Oregon State.
Okay, let's go Oregon State,
especially because they showed life against Houston. That was, man, they bad though. Their kicking game too. I believe they benched their old kicker and threw in a new field goal kicker that looked like he was 12 and he got blocked. And it could have been 7 guys that blocked his field goal. It's to quote Trent Bray. I mean, to misquote him, they fucking suck at kicking the ball. Hythloday, you going with App State?
Yeah, I am.
Really? Oh,
dude.
I mean, it wouldn't shock me that much, man.
I mean, honestly, this is a hard pick because both teams are bad. But I'm just going with the home team. Honestly, basically both of these teams it's very clear and the numbers play much better at home. And Boone, North Carolina is a long trip to make and frankly, a tough place to play. It's clear in the numbers.
That's it, dude. That's the game right there. That's going to get Hythloday the ability to name this segment of the show.
That would be, I mean, the other thing is the motivation, not to be storyline guy, but the motivation to be that's right. Let's get to 1-5 versus against App State versus App State being holy shit, we can beat a power 4.5 for whatever the hell Oregon State is. They are technically not FCS. So
I feel like the Oregon State pep talk is more about, all right, boys, let's work with what we got.
Yeah, I don't know what the pep talk is, dude. Let's keep the ball away from the kicker.
Going.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Who else we got in the Pac-12? Well, this is something. Colorado. I'm basically at the point of saying a bad Colorado team takes on TCU. TCU, which just lost to ASU, which we know. Hey, ASU's plucky as hell. The pluckiest team in college football, perhaps. Colorado on the road. I mean, it kind of hasn't even mattered. They've looked pretty rough on both sides of the ball. They're constantly trying to figure out what they're doing at QB. They lost, without Shadur Sanders, without Travis Hunter. It's been rough going. TCU though, I mean, who knows? Their best win is against UNC or something like that. I don't know, Aaron. I mean, In my head, I would go with TCU, and I know as the Texas boy, you would probably likely go with TCU as well. I mean,
No,
Colorado or the Buffmen.
right.
Colorado or the Buffmen. That's right.
And forever, dude, TCU sucks.
Oh yeah, you hate Texas Tech is who you'd go with, right? Or
Of course, all
Texas
day long,
or
or
not
Houston,
TCU.
or the Longhorns.
Yeah, you going with the
never go with the Aggies.
You going with the Buffmen then?
Oh, 100%. We need to be going with the Buffmen.
Let's ride. I could see it. I mean, it's Big 12, man.
Bro, we're a Sanders family over here, okay? We eat KFC.
Where's my watch then? Where's the hell's my watch? Hith, who do you got?
I got TCU.
Yuck.
They're the home team. They got a better quarterback.
Yeah, that's well put.
I guess if you like Jesus.
And you know we're a Christian podcast. All right, and let's wrap it up here with Duke on the road to Cal. Duke has been a bit disappointing this season. They beat Elon, not that Elon, a school Elon.
There's a school called Elon.
That's right. They got smoked by Illinois, who's been a good team outside of one game. They've been a pretty dang good team. And that was a competitive game for a good chunk of it. And then it turned into like 45-19. They lost to Tulane. Tulane has been good. They'd be better with Mekhi Hughes. And I bet you maybe everyone would be a little happier if that situation would have stayed the same. But 34-27, they beat NC State. They beat Syracuse. I think Syracuse without their star quarterback. So that is something, like 38-3. Cal has also been kind of a little perplexing. Maybe I think Cal really, it's just they've got a phenomenal young QB. But when you're a young QB, even if you're really talented, maybe, and it's Cal, so it's like they don't exactly have all the other positions in lock. They just got a really good QB and a scrappy defense. So they did lose to, who was it? Boston College, which I don't know how you lose to a team that lost to Stanford. That doesn't sit right with me. I don't know, Aaron. I love their QB, so I'd go with Cal. And it's probably
really
that's the only reason. I mean, if you felt strongly about Duke, I'd ride Duke with you.
I don't know that I feel strongly about Duke, but if you feel strongly about Cal, I mean, I would like to actually hear Hythloday's opinions on this quarterback, because there have been words said, and I'd like a leveled mind to have some weight.
Have you watched much of Sagapolutele?
I have watched. I mean, Minnesota played them, and then I think Cal comes back and plays Oregon State later in the year too. So I'm actually watching more Cal than I maybe would have. No, he's the real deal. The issue with Cal is that they kind of have the same Wilcox defense thing going as they always do, which is that they can defend a certain type of passing attack, but not another type of passing attack. So if you can go deep and have real athletes, you'll cook them all day. But if you're a dink and dunk team, that they'll anti-dink and dunk you.
Which one is Duke?
The latter, which is why I don't think the Duke is going to be a super effective offense against them. And the other issue with Cal is that while, I love their quarterback, they have no run game. That's why San Diego State destroyed them, is that they just completely sold out to stop the pass and ignored the run. And Cal was able to do nothing on the ground, despite the fact that San Diego State was effectively not even defending the run.
That's another situation I bet both parties wish was a little bit different. Is Jaden Knott? I wish he was still at Cal, honestly. He's not even playing.
So I think that Syracuse game is really distorting things. Because Syracuse didn't have their quarterback, I actually like Cal in this game. I think that Cal is going to be, able to take advantage of Duke. I don't think that Duke is going to be able to pull off the same kind of defensive mind trick that San Diego State did. And I think that Cal's defense is going to be able to shut down the dinky dunky stuff that Duke does. So yeah, give me Cal.
Okay. That's what I thought too.
I feel like you really cheated. You really looked over at the other paper on that.
Hey
one.
man,
Hey man,
I'm helping us. Okay, I work for us.
Oh sure. Well, and there's at least 3 picks that are different, so it's nice that it'll no matter what happens. And we don't have a super specific prediction to make because Ducks aren't playing. Do you have any bye week super specific predictions, Aaron?
Yeah. Everyone will definitely learn at least 2 lessons while watching tape.
Everyone in the world, or
just in the team in the locker room?
Okay, that's going to be hard to confirm, but I'll try to get my guys on it, my inside guys.
Also, I super specific prediction: one player will for sure get a high five from another player on campus.
Okay, that's good. I like that. My prediction will be that whatever Dan Lanning was on during that post-game interview,
bro, emotions
that was making his jaw go back and forth like pre or like John Mulaney when he used to do drugs. I'm gonna get some of that in Eugene. I'm gonna find some of that. That's my prediction. Did you see the way he was like? I think it was just maybe he got some like smelling salts before. Or
it's just Zin packets. You could see he had 2 in.
What is a Zin pack? I never even heard of that.
It's a kind of smokeless tobacco packet.
Okay, that made me feel good.
So he's just nicotine rushing through that.
That's fine. I thought our fucking coach was high on cocaine.
I thought he was just like completely raw dogging emotion.
I mean, hey, you could tell he was emotional. Who wouldn't be? Or as I was figuring maybe it was like Adderall, which I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm down. if that's the results we can get.
But in reality, he's chain smoking.
Yeah. It's like chewing gum on the sideline. Like I'm sure you just kind of need.
Yeah, I mean, it's a way healthier option.
Well, I don't want to do freaking nicotine, so I'm going to try a different prediction. Let's see. The student section is they're just gonna meet at Autzen and just practice on Saturday. Just really zoning in to get ready to be absolutely insufferable against Indiana. That's what I'm really excited about, Aaron, is so we're on this like trimester system. It's different than a lot of other schools at a lot of other universities.
So progressive.
Like our students are just arriving on campus now.
Right. Oh, now.
Yeah. So by the time this Indiana game comes, like, I do believe we were being loud
because there's a summer session.
Yeah, basically. So
that's smart for the local economy.
Yeah, I don't know why they do it. It's kind of throws things off when you would have friends going to other colleges and it's just like, oh well, our spring breaks on a line or whatever. Mm-hmm. But what it means is Indiana, it's going to be even crazier than it has been in Autzen this season because the students are finally here. And not only that, but like they just watched us beat Penn State. There's been a bye. This is going to be the first game for a lot of these students. Like they're going to be freaking nuts. We're going to go nuts in there. I'm very excited. And Hythloday, do you got any predictions whatsoever for something to happen in this bye week? Besides, every single one of the Quack 12 listeners will go over to Addicted to Quack and read your wonderful content over there.
We actually are planning quite a bit of analytical content for the site. In fact, I just hired a new analyst who starts tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah. We're going to be doing quite a bit of work during the bye week. My prediction for the bye week is that there will be a leak that one of the players who has been out for the season with an injury, that player is going to be back His recovery is ahead of schedule, and that's going to be the discussion like all week. Is oh man, just you look out, he's going to be back, and like all week that's going to be the only thing people can talk about, and then it just won't happen. Oh, I just wasn't quite ready to go yet.
Evan Stewart's doing backflips.
It'll be something like, or if it's not Stewart, it'll be somebody else. But and it's oh my god, it's just going to be strategic, for so it's like, don't talk about anything else. Talk about this guy.
I love it. I mean, I have seen Evan Stewart on TikToks, and he is doing dances. And every single comment is like, bro, if you can dance, get on the field, my man. Not quite the same, but.
Will Stein will readjust 2 plays to help distribute the offensive line in a more aggressive manner.
Okay. These are hard to prove again. Like,
hey man, they're super specific.
Salad.
I can't help.
Yeah,
that.
it was by redistribute. You mean just like 2 different offensive linemen,
or no? The way that they operate will just be better.
Like 2 of them, one will be in the slot.
Something. I don't know the ins and outs of it, dog.
All right. Well, if that happens, you get a point. All right, Hythloday, it's been a pleasure. We'll get you back on in one of these big moments. Please, once again, what do you got to promote, Aaron? Aaron. I don't give a shit what you got to promote, Aaron. Hythloday, where should people find your content?
I'm the managing editor for Addicted to Quack. We've got a lot of content coming up this weekend. Of course, we cover every duck sport that there is. If you put on green and yellow, we cover you. And you can listen to my podcast. It is called It Never Rains. On this podcast, we do interviews with all the opponents. We do conversations about the games. We have a whole lot of fun. And you can follow me on social media. My handle is Hythloday1. That's HYTHLODAY, the number 1.
That's right. And yeah, if you think this podcast has gotten significantly worse this season, you should absolutely go to It Never Rains on this podcast. That's like Quack 12 Prime, in your opinion, then. And of course, we have to show Adam's Toy Corner. We almost forgot.
Oh, yeah, you almost forgot.
Showing up, YouTube watchers will be able to see this. My Phil Knight bobblehead. I forget when or where I got this. And honestly, every year that passes and the man gets a little older, he's looking a little bit more and more like this Phil Knight bobblehead. But yeah, we'll see y'all next week. Quack, quack.
Quack, quack.